It's obvious that the word comes before the church. How could you have a church without the word? Therefore, the word originated in Ethiopia in the language of Ge'ez. Hence, in the beginning was the word, and it was not in Hebrew. And the word, from the oldest, most complete Bible, which was written in Ge'ez, it warned us about the Greek kingdom and how they would change the word. So one of the things they did was hijack the word and label it as Christianity, while at the same time implanting their churches within the kingdom of the word. For the word originated in Ethiopia, but if you go to Ethiopia today, you will find Greek churches run that used to be run by Egyptians. Hence, the word was changed up. So by the time the King of Kings was crowned, they didn't acknowledge him as the king. Why? Because they're part of the Greek kingdom. And the Greek kingdom are pagans. So why would a pagan tell you who the real God is? That's why it said leaders of the world took counsel against the Most High and his anointed. So let's read. To him that smote Egypt in their firstborn, for his mercy endured forever, and brought out Israel from among them. Why? Because Egypt was smart enough to go within Ethiopia and change it up as part of the Greek nation. So the word Orthodox itself is a Greek word that started in the 15th century. It's in reference to Greek churches and also Judaism. Hence, Judaism is part of the Greeks. So the clergy within Ethiopia, that's part of their Greek church, function as astrologers, fortune tellers, and healers. Ethiopian Christianity blends Christian conceptions of saints and angels with pre-Christian beliefs, along with the Hebrew Bible. That's why Haile Selassie I say, yo, me not like that in my Bible. So realizing that they ought to be a revision from the original Hebrew and Greek of the existing translation of the Bible, Haile Selassie made up his own Bible. So in 1962, a new Amharic translation from Ge'ez was printed. In other words, he didn't want that thing that they label original Hebrew and original Greek within his Bible. He didn't like it. In other words, he didn't like the fact that the Coptic church is running his nation. So look what it says. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church became fully independent from Alexandria in 1959, hence after the king was crowned. In other words, he didn't like what they were doing. The church still holds a lot of political and social influence. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church gained basically self-rule in 1959 under Emperor Haile Selassie that ended more than 1,600 years of relying on the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria. In other words, the original church was some pagan Egyptian Greek church. Before then, Egyptian bishops led the Ethiopian church. The Patriarch of Alexandria, which literally has the very first pope, made the big decisions and sent the Abuna, which means father. God don't like no man being called father, to Ethiopia. Hence, he didn't like it. So let's watch. The original church, the St. Mary of Zion Church, that they lied and said was built in the 4th century, because they like labeling stuff older than what it really is. So the original church is believed to have been. So once you hear believed to have been, or according to church tradition, they made it up. Was believed to have been built in the 4th century, but it wasn't really built till the 17th century. And look what it says, very important. Ethiopian emperors came to be crowned. And indeed, if an emperor was not crowned at Axum, or did not at least have his coronation ratified by a special service at St. Mary of Zion, he could not be referred to by the title of Emperor of Ethiopia. Hence, when you saw Haile Selassie crown, you saw him with abunas. That doesn't mean he won them around. That's why it says this. The Haile Selassie version of the Bible, which was published in 1962, contains the narrower canon in Amharic, translated from Ge'ez. He didn't want that original Hebrew and that original Greek within his Bible. And his Bible contains 72 books. And within it, you will find 87 Bible verses about God bringing Israel out of Egypt. So why would God want an Abuna in his church? Part 2 ended, part 3 on the way. Jagat.